Hello everybody. I'm back with another one today. We're gonna be talking about the tropics in this one. It's been a while since we've done that, but it's gonna get pretty interesting. So let's start it off. We currently have Tropical Storm Sam. It is continuing to strengthen. It's officially 60 mile per hour, 1,000 millibars. Now, currently, my analysis is showing that this is becoming, if close, if not at hurricane strength, and the pressure is probably something in the mid 990s or upper 990s now. It'll continue to rapidly deepen. To look at that forecast discussion to first start it off, it is expected to rapidly intensify into a near Category 4 storm over the next few days. It'll likely achieve major hurricane status on Saturday or maybe even tomorrow night. Current count, we are expecting this thing to become a hurricane tomorrow afternoon. I think it'll become one easily tomorrow morning. But as we see here, it'll easily become one likely tomorrow morning. And yeah. Okay, sorry about that. I had technical difficulties, but here's the count. So we are expecting this thing to, it's gonna near some of the northern Leeward Islands, Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, Cuba potentially. More likely not Cuba, but it could impact the Bahamas or Bermuda. We don't really know where this thing's gonna go right now, but we'll talk about that in a second. Now let's look at the current mesoscale floaters. I probably have a new update here. Yep. We currently have a small but very well-defined storm. Let's zoom out and go full screen on this. So currently we have Tropical Storm Sam. It's likely nearer at hurricane strength. We do have a new convective burst right there. It's F11. Let's exit out of this here and let's go back 100 here. So we have a very well-defined. We look at this, it looks like there's not much dry air in the circulation. Again, we got pretty deep convection overall. It's negative 70s, so that would indicate that this thing is probably on its way to becoming a tropical storm. ATCF has this thing at 70 mile per hour and 997 millibars. That would indicate it's nearly hurricane strength. Now, let's look at some of the models. So the track guidance. Here's one of the track guidances. They're all pretty much in agreement until we get out under that 4, until we get out to about 120. They are in a range about this, and then once we get out further, then they're in a range like that. So we don't really know where this thing's gonna go. Intensity guidance, let's just say it's going to get stronger than the millibars that's showing here. It's gonna get stronger. Mainly uses for the center of track. So we do have some models becoming a strong hurricane, probably major hurricane hitting this area, but the main, we have mainly most, let's see here, most of the models keep it within this general zone. Now it's not unlikely that now it's not impossible that this storm goes more south and impacts Puerto Rico, but it's likely not going to. Now let's look at the GEFS, and it's very weak. Expect it to be stronger. Now let's look at the guidance here. So the Cody has this thing becoming a Cat 5. That's unlikely. Now most of the other models have this thing becoming a Category 3, with some even becoming a Category 4 or low-end Cat 4, which is very possible. Now let's go into the models here for it. We're gonna first look at the HWRF. This is the 18Z run. So I would say it actually initialized pretty good. It initialized right around the same wind speed, and right now it's actually showing around this time that it would be 70 knots, which isn't impossible, but I would say it's more like, I'd say it's more like 65 right now. Now, as we move on, we actually see this thing keeping around the same strength tomorrow. And then, let's see here. I think this is, yeah, this is still Friday. It has it becoming a major hurricane tomorrow afternoon. Very possible this happens. Still, actually, wait, I don't think it is. Oh no, that's not major hurricane. That's just Cat 2. There's major hurricane, and that would be Saturday morning, which that's pretty likely. Keeps on deepening. We get to right around 100 knots again. And there we go, right below Category 5 strength. Or 4, not 5, sorry. And then it looks like it weakens a little bit, then strengthens some more. Kind of stays within that upper end Category 3 margin, and just gets bigger overall. Now, let's go to the H-Worth parent model. So let's see how this one initiated. So this one initiated good again. Around this time, it had it being close to what it is right now. Then we see this thing become a major hurricane. Not until, I believe that's Sunday morning, or is that Saturday morning? Sunday morning. Now, at this point, it becomes nearly a Category 4 storm. Then keeps on trucking along as a major. And it ends up getting closer to the islands. Now, let's go to the Ichman model. So it initialized rather poorly, I'd say. I could see this being realistic at this point, but it's a little bit overdoing it, I feel like. It has it being a major hurricane tomorrow afternoon. I don't know. We'll see. Probably not, though. And then has this thing begin nearly becoming a Category 4, as most models have it on that brink. And the storm gets huge, passing by the Leeward Islands. Now, let's look at the GFS with Sam. Let's see how it initialized with it. And it did not initialize good. I'll tell you that much. So it seems like the GFS is going to be a model where you don't really want to pay attention to the intensity, just the location, and things ends up hitting Maine as a pretty strong low pressure system into Nova Scotia there. Now we have another storm to talk about. But first we're gonna look at the tropical cyclone track guidance here in the Atlantic. Let's look at Sam again. I think there's another way you can get it, but I'm not sure. There it is. Okay. So here is your European track guidance for Sam. So most of them show pink or upper echelon red. That would mean Category 2 to Category 3. Most of them don't really initialize great with it. Now, let's see here. The mean track comes awfully close to Puerto Rico and those islands. We changed to a color that is not seen very much here. I would say the majority of tracks are in a wide range like this on the European. So we might see Puerto Rico get into the cone at some point. Either way, Puerto Rico probably will see impacts from this thing. Or not probably, could. Let's look at the GFS here. Does it impact Puerto Rico? on the GFS, it actually stays away from Puerto Rico. But looking at most of the Euro ensembles, it does impact that area. Now, let's see here. We're gonna look at the European wave. It'll just show you the wave action here in Central. Yeah, perfect. So it seems like Sam will start to generate some pretty hefty waves there, upwards of 30 feet or so. Now as this thing keeps on moving, it'll keep on generating pretty significant waves. As actually this model has it coming close to the East Coast, and if that does occur, you'll be seeing some rough surf, probably 10-foot waves across portions of the East Coast if that occurs. Now, not sure it will, but that would be very interesting to say the least. Now we have another storm to talk about here. That's a typhoon out west. This is typhoon, or not typhoon, but it's a tropical storm, 20W. Currently JW, I think it's DWTC. They're expecting this thing to become 130 knots. That's like 150 mile per hour. Personally, I think this thing could reach for equivalent to Category 5 intensity of storms out in the Atlantic. And currently, we are predicting, not we are, but the JWTC is predicting a super typhoon. Track guidance is showing this thing going down to 924 millibars in the future. We'll see if that occurs. But as we see here, mean model guidance 931 millibars, with all of them having 930s. So that's really bad. Also, here is the EPS, and this is more conservative. It is all showing a major hurricane too, pressure-wise. Now, currently, the storm is not looking too organized. Let's go to this part of the loop right here. We'll just advance it. It's starting to become more organized. I will say that. We do see it's starting to get a core there, but it's not super organized yet. Probably got winds aren't too strong yet. I want to see what's the current. So, oh, it just got updated to 50 knots. So it's currently going under a rapid intensification phase. GWTC was expecting it to become 50 knots at is that 0Z tomorrow? Or is that might have been 0Z today. It's at 950. It's at 995 millibars and 50 knots. So this thing is nearing typhoon strength. It's at 60 mile per hour. So that is interesting. Now let's look at some of the models here that we got with this thing. So let's look at 20W here. So at this point, H-Worth's predicting its intensity decent, I would say. Yeah, I'd say the H-Worth is doing a good job of the intensity. It's having it become a typhoon, of course, tomorrow, and then pretty significant rapid intensification up to 126 knots here. And deepening down to 925 millibars. Has the storm getting really strong there. Has the storm just going nuts. If we look at the simulated IR, just look at that, man. Goodness, look at how fast this thing wraps up. So currently, H-Worth is not doing a bad job representing its current intensity. Then it chooses to serve an eye tomorrow. We'll just see if this occurs. If it does, my goodness, it'll be a beautiful storm on satellite. Now, let's go to the global side and look at the GFS. No. Not hurricane. Mesoscale, I guess, whatever. Okay, there we go. we're gonna go look at the GFS, we're gonna look at the regions, and we're gonna go into kind of the, how about we do the Western Atlantic? No, we'll do something else. Let's see what regions we can do here. North Atlantic would probably work out quite good. So let's look at some of the factors here, like your upper level dynamics. So currently there's a trough on the East Coast. Now this tropical system is actually expected to push the trough a little bit further to the east. This trough would also allow for that tropical system to get a bit sheared as well, which will probably limit its intensity a little bit. Now most models currently don't really have this thing going toward the United States. Now we'll see if it does or not. Look at the Euro there. The Euro has it a bit closer to home. The Euro actually has it hitting portions of the Leeward Islands there as well. And it actually has that trough going westward because of the storm, and this thing would have a fair shot to land in, like, portions of the US if that actually occurs. Now that's a big if. The CMC model, this model isn't too accurate usually, but it has a fish storm. That's a good thing. The NavGem, okay, it doesn't go out that far. What about the Icon? Okay, it doesn't go out that far. And the GMA is like, what a terrible model again. So, looks like it has that trough being further west, but the storm is weaker. But that's gonna do it for this one. We're gonna be at tropical update for today.